Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Ellie Jńe, your space curator, and today we are going to finish up our birthday card today. So I have my supplies here, so if you wonder what the sizes are and things like that, please take a look at my first video and the prep work. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have my card here, which is going to be my base card, and then I have my 3 panels, my envelope, my double-sided tape, and then I have liquid glue as well, just in case I have some things and pieces I need to move, and I might not use it for the ice cream die cuts that I have here. And we're just gonna go ahead and get into the assembly process. Before we do that though, I do want to talk about like the distressing is very important for this project. At least I like this side because it gives that dimension and that heaviness and beautiful look to this card. But looking at the original card that I made, you know, the stitch work and things like that, I might switch some things around as I move forward, but you know, it's still a great traditional piece. So I'll talk it through as I go through it. And yeah, so I'm putting my panel on top of this card, and my first panel, and this is going to be a different type of printed paper from the inside. You can use the same color printed paper or you know, scrapbook paper or whatever, but I use different, you know, colors just so it could have that beautiful aha effect, I guess. But I'm double side taping this to the card, and it's going to be really just an eye-catching type. I don't know, I was kind of going for like a picnic sheet look, and I thought this was absolutely cute. The reason why I do not use liquid glue here is simply because, yes, you can move the panel around, but you know, I want to move quickly through this process, and I don't want to wait for it to dry. And as you can see, I'm looking at the stitches here of the original one, and the stitches show on the outside and the inside of this card. What I want to do is take those stitches and actually in this project hide the stitches. So with me putting the double-sided tape, this allows that initial first panel to not move in as I put it and run it through my sewing machine. And I'm just going to line this up. There's easier ways of doing this. You can use your stamping pad, or you can use 2 books. You can use many different ways to make sure that these papers align. Mine is definitely going to come out crooked, and I actually kind of like that simply because it gives that handmade feel. I'm not really huge on perfection, simply because, you know, just enjoy the process, right? So, yep, I have attached my first panel, and I'm going to also mock up with my other 2 panels with the 2 different colors just to see how it would look. And I just didn't want to lay down that tape first. It just did not make sense, because I was like, how else would you hide the stitches? You would have to put the panel over it. So I'm moving everything out the way, and we're just going to go ahead into the sewing process. And there's 2 different ways that I did. The original card actually had me sewing stitches of interest on both sides, like the left and the right side of the card. In this particular project, I'm going to use the Z stitch, or the Z stitch, and really get all 4 corners. I thought that would be absolutely cute little touch that I had. And you know, I made sure that the lines were straight. But really, this is one of those projects you can have any type of stitch. You can have a straight stitch, which is really nice and simplistic depending upon how you want the front card to look, or you can use any of those other cool looking stitches to the right of my machine, and they will all do really pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this process going, and I'll show you the end product. Okay, so we have this great little, you know, Z-stitch print, and it looks so cute with the printed paper that I have, because again, it's supposed to look like a picnic type, you know, printed paper. And now I can actually either cut or tuck away or keep those threads out depending upon how you want your card to look. I'm going to actually tuck mine away with double-sided tape. And the double-sided tape is not only going to serve the purpose of holding down those threads, but also in hiding those threads, but it's going to hide the stitches, and it's just going to look like I have a different type of, I don't know, a layout on the inside of my actual card. So I'm just putting double-sided tape on all ends and actually the middle, so there isn't like a puddle, and I'm doing that on both sides of the panel. And once I come back, I'll show you how I actually decorate this card as well. All right, so I'm just trimming the excess panel. Again, you know, if you do not like that, you know, that the card kind of points out or picks out, just shave off a couple inches or centimeters off of the card to make sure that the inner panels actually lay flat. But for the most part, it doesn't bother me. I just cut it off and distress around the card. And here, we're going to get into a different type of way that we could be able to utilize our inside of our card, right? I see that, you know, I have a cute little picture or a little die cut of that dreamsicle. I think this time around, I thought it would be cool to add some more interest within the card and make it really more fun. And before I even get into it, I was like, in order for me to know what to do on the inside of my card, like I was showing you, I need to get the outside of my card together so it actually can align, the front story can align with the inside story. So I'm using a happy birthday stamp set. I got this stamp set at, I don't even know the brand of it, but I got this stamp set at, what was it, Tuesday Morning. Tuesday Morning has so many cute little random dies and stamp sets that you can learn new things about. And I just want to say, go there, crafters, if you're looking for things to add to your projects or your stash or craft room. So anyway, I'm placing and mocking up the card here. And I'm just showing you what it looks like just to have one ice cream scoop with the cone and also 3, right? I have multiple options with this, right? I could either stack them up straight up, or I can kind of get fun and have a little tilt to it. So the original card was kind of more straight up and down, but this time I'm gonna give a little bit of a tilt to my ice cream scoops and make it a lot more playful. And then once I realize where I want my die cuts to lie, I just basically mark in place where and how high this card should go. And also, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the, you know, the stamping of the actual sentiment, right? So I'm using this embossing watermark pad, and I'm going to put a champagne embossing powder on top of it. Now the difference of the old card versus this card, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do the champagne embossing by itself. And the first one that I did a black ink stamp first, cleaned the stamp off, and then I did the embossing powder after that, and that's what gave it such a strong dimension of happy birthday. But for this card, I wanted something really light and whimsical since I'm doing a lot of things also on the inside of the card. I just wanted to see what it would turn out to be. And, you know, I kind of like it. For certain projects, it will look cool. In other projects, it might look a little too light, but nonetheless, I'm just, you know, trying to put it together. Please don't be like me and not use your static tool, because you'll have so much embossing powder that you just do not need, like I did here. And, you know, I had a little bit of gold flakes around the birthday sentiment, but, you know, again, it's a handmade card. I really do like those, you know, mistakes that actually turn out to look cute type things. So look at that champagne glitter. It's so cute by Recollections, and I love this. And there's also gold, and it looks very similar, but it's really not. It's very light. And I'm just showing you here what that black stamp looks like underneath this shimmer. So you see how it stands out a little bit more bold than the one on the left, but nonetheless, they're both cute. They both work, and in person, it looks way better and brighter and a little bit darker on camera. So now is the time to assemble the ice cream scoops. And this is the fun part for me, right? On the back of each scoop, I basically put double-sided tape on it. And you could definitely use glue here if you want to move your card around. I know exactly where the ice cream cones will lay, and if they end up messing up, it adds to the cute flair of this card. So I'm not too much worried about it. And I also wanted this card to stick and stay together because I'm making this card on video. I wanted things to not be moving around while I flip the card over and I'm doing the inside, so I use double-sided tape. So I put the cone first, and then I build down up, right? Because if I start up first, it will be hard to tuck those cones underneath each other. And I use a T-shape tape in order to glue down the ice cream cones. And they shouldn't, because you're using a heavier cardstock or watercolors, it shouldn't really lift up. And if it does, you are always welcome to use more tape. And if it's already on paper, just add a little bit of liquid glue to make sure that it stays intact and it doesn't really snag onto the envelope that you're putting over this. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish taping up this ice cream part down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm not quite finished with the front of this card just yet. But we're gonna come right back to it because it's now time to get into the middle part. So I have an envelope, and I also have a dreamsicle to the left. I know that I want to put that on the inside, but I felt like it was looking a little naked, so I used the same cardstock that I used printed paper on the front, and I brought it to the middle of the card, and that actually brought the entire card together. I was so happy about that. And I cut it down probably a fourth of an inch on the sides and 1 inch taller than the actual card or envelope itself. And by the way, my card is the size of a gift card. So this is definitely a gift card type card. And I just cut down this paper, and it's going to act like, again, you know, a picnic blanket. And I just am really happy about this touch because I definitely didn't plan it. And I just made sure that the cut was a little bit bigger than my actual envelope. And as you can see, that did not work because that was not the cut I needed to use. But this one worked perfectly. And it also, I made sure that this extra cutout that I have was smaller than the actual panel as well. So my next steps here is to figure out which way I want it. And I intended for it to be horizontal, but I was like, you know what? This longitude look is pretty freaking epic. And the remaining strip of purple that I used, I decided to use that as a space where, you know, someone can, like this 6-inch right here, someone can be able to write inside of it. So I just scored it down the middle and made the flap in the front longer than the actual attaching flap in the back. So yeah, it's time to prepare this thing. And I prepared by what? Distressing and making sure that I crimped the edges. And I basically did the same crimping that I did for the, you know, the base of the card. And I also crimped on the fold. So it had that really cute little, I don't know, it just was a nice little touch that I thought looked cute. And then I also crimped the edges of that placebo picnic type of blanket. And it was, you know, really, I don't know. I'm just super ecstatic about that. I could have sewed it like I did the front panel, but you know, I just kind of like where things was going, where I would tape it and give it some little dimension. You can add something different than what I'm going to show you I'm adding after I distress. I added regular double-sided tape that was flat, but you can give this card a little bit of dimension and add some foam to the back of the panel to the right, the picnic table one that's going on in the envelope. Now, the card that I'm distressing now, that would need flat double-sided tape or glue because, and you want to make sure the glue is absolutely flat because people will be writing on this flap with their, you know, own sentiments and, you know, just words of encouragement or however this card will be used. I'm using it as a happy birthday card, but you could definitely use it for any other type of idea that you have, because somebody might like ice cream, but you know, it might be their way to say get well soon, or you know, let's go meet up or something like that. So anyway, I'm positioning this card together. I love the way the dreamsicle looks like on top of the sentiment card. And then I love the way the envelope sits as well as like a dimension. It's like layers on top of the picnic table. So now it's time to actually assemble this together and glue it down. And I'll be right back with more instructions. Okay, so I forgot while I was gluing everything down, I did not put a sentiment on the inside of my envelope. And it's important because you see in this old card, I put "Hope it's sweet, happy birthday, hope it's sweet." And the "hope it's sweet" in it basically allows you to really know that you got a nice little gift or a gift card on the inside. So, you know, it could be to an ice cream place, it could be just a regular card, but it's just that extra added touch to a card that makes it really cute. And my idea here is to keep it really simple on the inside, but there's many ways that you can turn "Hope it's sweet" into something, you know, cute. You can add embossing here as well if you want, and you can bejewel it, bedazzle it. It's up to you, but I just kept it black and normal, you know what I'm saying? But this "Hope it's sweet" came with the actual ice cream set that I had, or stamp and die set that I had, and I thought that was a cute little phrase to add with the front sentiment as well. So now that the stamping is out of the way, we do want to assemble this card, and just how we mocked it up is how I'm going to actually lay it out on this card. And then, you know, we're going to actually find ways to make sure that now that we have the basics out the way, that we can decorate this card to my liking, but then you can also remix it the way you like it as well. Okay, so we have assembled the basics of this card, and it looks really great how it is. The sentiments on the inside, the sentiment on the outside, the topsy-turvy look of the scoops of the ice cream, just beautiful, right? So now it's time to get creative. You can either keep it how it is, which is, it's still a beautiful card to give, or you can add some rhinestones like me, or gilded flakes. You can add glitter. You can add more color, you can add more dimension, you can add many different bells and whistles to this card, but I'm sticking to the typical, you know, really like diamond, sparkle, crystals, or rhinestones to this card. So I'm using liquid glue, and that would allow me to not only utilize my tool with control, but it would also let me utilize the rhinestones with control and place them where I want to, and they're able to move. I do not know another version of how else to apply rhinestones, but you know, if you guys have a suggestion, let me know. The first place that I'm applying my rhinestone is on the top of the envelope, simply because it's absolutely cute like that. You can really open up that envelope and add like an eyelet if you want to, and tie it down with a bow. But I just did a simple rhinestone because the card closed itself would already keep the card. And then on my dreamsicle, what I'm doing different from my other card versus this card is I'm adding just like a melting drop from the dreamsicle. So the glue looks like the dreamsicle is melting, and then the crystals on top, or the rhinestones on top, give it that nice little shine, extra little flair that I definitely think is necessary. So I'm going to finish bedazzling my card, but you know, take some time out to think, what would you do differently? You know, find some items to add to this to give it its own flair, your own little personality. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so don't be like me and put the wet glue down and wait until it dries and it sets. But, you know, for the sake of this video, I wanted to get it done and over with without taking more takes. And I used a bigger rhinestone just to symbolize, like, it could be like a cherry on top or whatever. And I thought it was really pretty cute. As you see, I was trying to, you know, fix the envelope because it actually moved a bit and I wanted to check and see. And then I'm also applying a small little rhinestone right above the eye on birthday. And I thought that was really cute. Now here again is where you can get creative and put rhinestones all on the actual scoop of ice cream. You can put rhinestones all on happy birthday. You could completely deck this out, minimalize it. Oh my gosh, that was a struggle bus. You could do anything that you want to the front card. Make sure that it just matches up on the inside of the card. But as you can see, I've made an envelope, my signature envelope. And I just placed the card inside of it, and it's absolutely cute. So let's kind of go over the differences of the first card and the second card just to give you more ideas, creative ideas. So in this one, the happy birthday is used with just the champagne embossing. And then this one I did a black stamp and then the champagne embossing. So you see the depth there. Both look good in real life. On camera looks different. Also the ice cream on the old card was definitely used with more stamps. It's more darker, and I also had it going straight up and down, where this one I used more of like the Tim Holtz distressing ink with the brush, and I just kind of scored it around and used brown stamp. And yeah, I did not use the stamp on top of it. I just used the crisscross one, and I kind of made the ice cream scoops kind of, you know, look like it had that fun little effect to it and a little curvature to it. But I still decked it with the same big rhinestone and the small rhinestone, you know, in those respective spaces. Now, also I used the stitch work on both sides of the card and around on the left side. And then on the inside here, you do see on the old one that there's stitch showing, and the new card does not show any stitches. And then I added my, the popsicle stick to my creamsicles. One had gold and the left had the stamps, and then one had a bite mark and one had a trip mark, and then one had writing option for the actual purchaser of this card or user of this card, where you could write your sentiments. And the other one just was left as a picture because it could be more minimal and used for corporate spaces or spaces that are not so pressing. Right? But as far as the envelopes, I had the envelopes both say "Hope It's Sweet," but the one that you see on the left matched the front of the card. And the one on the right is the newer one, where I had that actual picnic type of sheet underneath the envelope. And, you know, that gave it a little bit more dimension and depth. On the back, I just had my two different emblems on the back, but there's two different ways to basically personalize your card and make sure that it is yours. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, concerns, I don't know, anything, let me know. You can follow me on my Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. And I am definitely here to, you know, chat and get to know you guys. I'm Ellie Jńe, your space curator. I love to live and I live to share. And I look forward to chatting with you guys soon and showing my next project. Bye.